Hey, before I get started, I also let you know about this. I'm finding out about the Texas weather right now. When I came out of the NRG this morning, my glasses fogged up. And when they fogged up, it's not the first time it's fogged up, but I realized then that when I was in Philly, we used to go to Lehigh University, and we actually had to drive to practice. And when you would see the fog, the clouds up, the fog and whatnot, and all of a sudden you knew that day in practice, it's going to be pretty tough. So I'm expecting that today, but I've already made those guys aware of that.
The glasses will stop fogging up about October.
October, well, okay.
Can you tell us, Watson came out yesterday, Nick said he's not going to Green Bay. Can you talk about that, please?
Well, like I said before, we it's day to day with him, and he'd been out for a while, and he was back today, and we're just taking it day to day as it has been from the start of training camp.
What goes into the decision about whether or not someone travels to a preseason game?
Well, we haven't made that decision yet on who all is going to travel and who all is not going to travel. We're going to make that decision probably around Thursday, and go from there with it.
And what goes into that decision?
Well, injuries. There are some guys that we'll sit down and decide if we want to play them or not. Now, that doesn't mean they won't travel to the game, but they may not play in the game.
So could you maybe elaborate a little bit, or just reiterate the fact that Nick said this morning that he's not going to Green Bay? What went into that decision, that kind of thing? That's all.
Well, he's unlikely to play in the game for sure. So we'll make a decision later on in the week as to what's going to happen with that.
Is that based off of injury or?
Well, it's based off the fact that the limited reps that he's had in practice and that kind of thing.
Do you expect him to play at all this preseason?
No comment.
David, you mentioned last week how much you like Malik Collins. What is it about his game that you like so much?
Well, again, when you have a defensive lineman that plays the way he plays the game, and it trickles down to everybody else on the defense, and he's like what we say, he's like all out player. He's all out all the time. It's almost like sometimes you want to kind of slow him down a little bit, but he never does that, and you love that about him. And even when he makes a mistake doing full speed, and a lot of times when you do that as a player, good things happen.
How fired up are you as a coach to see Davis Mills and Nick Collins against the Packers?
Well, I'm looking forward to not only seeing them, but all our rookies that we have. And, there's a lot of guys on this team that, we haven't seen and we're going to be able to get to see, and we're looking forward to all of those guys.
What do you think about where each of those guys are since they're third-round picks, and at some point they're going to be throwing the pencils at each other?
Well, again, training camp is to find that out, and they've been doing a nice job in training camp. As you said, it's been a very competitive situation all training camp with those guys, and they've been up to par with the standpoint of competing every day and not letting it be too big for them.
What has stood out to you about the rookies on the defensive end like Eric Wallow and Roy Lopez?
Well, I'll say this about those two. John, you mentioned about Malik Collins. Those two guys play the game the same way. They played that way when they were in college coming out. Those guys are all-out players all the time, and it's encouraging to see, although they don't know what they don't know right now, but what they do know is they know how to hustle, and they know how to play the game right.
How much growth have you seen in Davis Mills since he got started?
Well, each day in practice he gets better and better. Just like Jeff, Tyrod, all those guys. Each day they get better and better. And I'll say that from the scrimmage coming into practice yesterday, I was so encouraged as a coach to see us, especially offensive, make progress from the standpoint of eliminating the penalties, our tempo being a little bit faster. And that was so encouraging yesterday. And it was the first time this training camp that I've seen that consistently from the start of practice to the end of practice. And it was the first time when I left practice and I said, that's what I want to see.
How's Brevin Jordan doing?
He's working hard, John. He's working hard. He comes to work every day. He gets after it. He has that same kind of mentality that those guys, that all those rookies that we've got, those guys flat out love to play the game. And he's doing that. He's learning. We want him to get a little bit more consistent. He's starting to get that way. We're starting to see that day to day, and that's what training camp is about. Well, with the competition with that group, every day guys can't come to practice and not have your A game with you, because when you do that with the group that we got right there, with the numbers that we got there, I mean, those guys are all competing for positions, and the competition each day out here in practice just keeps all those guys getting better and better.
What are the things that you see from Davis Mills that make him a good fit within this offense? Like, what can he do with him?
Well, I mean, he would be a good fit in any offense from the standpoint in this league. We knew when we drafted him that what we were getting. He has not shown those things that we felt like that he was going to be, and he's progressing every day and getting there.
What specifically do you want to see from him in
More consistency in running the offense.
And you as a coach, what's the biggest thing you look for in a first preseason game?
Well, I want to see how they perform under game type situations. We haven't been in that yet. Our scrimmage was actually a manufactured kind of scrimmage. I mean, this right here, I mean, it's live. And it'll be the first time other than the goal line that we've done where it's going to be alive.
Has there been anything you've learned about yourself or the coaching staff just as training camp started, and maybe even something that as a staff y'all want to improve upon?
Well, again, the thing that's going to happen in this first preseason game is going to be the first time as a staff that we're going to be able to do the game day thing about how we handle things, what happens from the press box, the communication, and those kind of things will be the first time that this group has all been together to do that.
coordinator's going to be on the field?
On the field.
Yeah.
On the field. All right.
Let me ask you one more question. What does it say about Davis Mills that he bounced back so well after that bad red zone day?
Well, that he has the right stuff that a quarterback has to have, because there's going to be bad plays. Not only going to be bad plays, there'll be a bad series. And I'm gonna go back to what happened yesterday in practice. When we were in practice yesterday and we had 3 groups going, and our tempo got faster and faster and faster. And when his group got up there, he started doing the exact same thing. And then what happened is when things happen and you got that tempo going, I mean, they are the front people that we got up there. Whenever things happen, it's all a reflection of what's happening with the quarterback with his tempo. And he showed yesterday, as well as Jeff, that Tyrod had a really good tempo going, because we were doing some up-tempo stuff. And when those 2 guys got up there, all of a sudden you could see that same tempo. And it showed in the success that we was having with consistency.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.